everybody. I'm Jeremy with ZTP Mag. I'm here with Althea Harper at the Columbus Convention Center for Fashion Meets Music Festival. How are you doing, Althea?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So I've got a couple of questions for you that some of your fans actually, when I put it up on Facebook that I was looking for some extra help with questions, some people were like, "Oh my God, I watched every episode and I love her. Ask her these questions." And it was great. It was great. So first of all, the question I'm going to ask anybody is, how did you get started in this whole thing? What was your journey like?
Well, I was always really interested in art, and I like doing, like fine art and like drawing, and then I draw people, and then I draw the people in the clothes. And then one of the things that really drew me to it was like, you use both parts of your brain. So it's like you have the business side and then the creative side, but even the creative side, like you have to design, but you have to design for things that are on trend, but fit every body type, but stay in the price point that you need to sell at. So there's like a lot of puzzles, and so it kind of like fulfills both sides. It's not like you're just doing creative things, and and then you don't fulfill like kind of the right or left side of the brain. That you get to use both sides of it. It's not, or it's not like I'm just doing business stuff and then can't do the creative aspect. So. Right. Kind of encompasses it all.
So have you had any trouble balancing out that creative versus business side? As a professional now?
Yeah, I think sometimes, which I'm sure anyone would agree, is, it's always the balance of, okay, because you don't want to go too business where it's like you're just putting things that are going to sell that aren't necessarily your passion. Right. So it's hard because, I've had some things that people really respond to, but I'm like, that's not me, and I'm just not going to pursue that because, like I've maybe done something for a private client or something, and they're like, oh, people love that dress, and I'm like, that dress was more because of what that person needed. It's not really my direction. Right. And it's like, then if you end up just sort of creating just to sell, that takes away the passion. So it is kind of a balance, right. But overall, it's not anything that's like really I've noticed a lot, but it comes up.
Not soul crushing or anything like
that. Yeah, exactly.
So who is? Do you have a main influence? Like who really got you going?
Yeah, I would say probably I did a internship at Alexander McQueen when I worked with a design assistant there, and that was probably the biggest thing that like really inspired me, and I feel like made me probably the strongest designer. One of the things they told me was, don't just put like a bow or put like a embellishment on something just for the sake of doing it to look pretty. Everything should have like a meaning. So if the bow, right. Hold up a strap, or like if you're having a design, just have like the design end here. It has to continue to the back, and just things I think make really good sound design versus just kind of throwing things on just because, would a bow look good there? I don't know, what do you think? And you're like, okay, actually the strap could use a little more volume or something that right. Just kind of makes it all work together. And that was pretty much the best advice, because otherwise sometimes you see things and it's just like, whoa, so much stuff. And I want people to get noticed because they look great in my clothes. I don't want them to just be a hanger and be like, oh, that right. Dress is amazing. I'd rather right. Have people say, you look amazing.
The dress was made for you.
Yes,
it looks,
exactly.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a European thing. My grandfather's an architect, and
cool.
He's Danish. So IKEA, yeah. People in that kind of region, everything has a function. And they try to make things as beautiful as possible mm-hmm. with function. Yeah. And that's one of the allures of anything they do over there.
Right.
So totally. that taking that whole thing into fashion just totally makes sense. That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So if you could dress any historical figure,
oh wow,
who would you dress?
This is a good question.
And why?
This is a very, very good question.
Have you ever been asked this question before?
No, I haven't. This is the first time I've been asked this question, and it's an awesome question. I would probably say Brigitte Bardot. I think she is just like a total woman, and she's obviously very sexy, but at the same time she had kind of a little bit of an innocence, but she seemed smart and being had that chic Frenchness to her, and I think and effortless, but also look glamorous, just like not fair. She's kind of had it all. So right. I think when I design clothes, she's kind of always like my muse. So I would love to actually have her in the pieces like back in the 60s right. And everything, and I think that would be really fun.
That's awesome that you said your muse, because that was kind of another question that I was going to ask. I think I've already asked it in a different way. So, but that's pretty cool. Yeah. Where was the first time you saw Bridget Bardot?
You know, I mean, I wish I had like a definitive memory of this, but just pictures, and I thought she was beautiful. And then I watched And God Created Woman, and it's one of her old movies, and I was like, this girl is so cool. She's, running around in like a men's t-shirt, and she looks like so fun, and I just, I just was like really drawn to her. But I think actually it was maybe probably just her picture, like, just
Right.
kind of searching through, the internet or like old things, and I just saw her, and I was like, I don't know. We had an instant connection through the internet.
It happens to a lot of
Yes,
people,
it does.
as long as it's not a catfish. So what are you doing here at FMMF? What are you doing here at Fashion Meets Music Festival?
I actually presented last night at the gala. I had my runway show, and then I'm also giving a seminar on Sunday at 2. So it was, I was excited to show my collection, and then I'm looking forward to, talking, and so it's been fun.
So what is the seminar going to cover, and where is it going to be at?
So the seminar is actually going to be here at the convention center, and we're just going to talk about, I always like to kind of open it up for questions and kind of hear like what it's always interesting. Like some people come and they want to hear just a lot about Project Runway, and some people,
Right.
they want to hear more, okay, I'm starting a business. How are you able to kind of take your business from, just being something in Ohio to starting it, to selling in New York and having production in New York and things like that. So I usually like to start out and kind of just give like a general thing of who I am and, what I do and how I kind of got there, just so everyone kind of is on the same page. And then from there, I like to open it up and answer questions, and I can go kind of in depth to whatever people want to talk about. But I like to talk about everything. There's nothing, whether it be the business side, the creative side, just gossiping about Project Runway, like whatever people want to hear.
Cool. So before I ask my last question, I want to go back and just ask, was Project Runway your big break, or were you doing things before that, or
Well, so
what really was the moment for you?
I went directly from school to Project Runway. I think that's the only time I actually would have been able to do this, because it was like I went to University of Cincinnati, the DAP program, graduated, and then it was like, okay, I'm moving from Cincinnati, I want to move to New York, but I need to make some money before I could go to New York.
It's expensive.
It's very expensive.
A little bit.
Yeah. And, I had a boyfriend, but I didn't have any kids, or I didn't have any sort of like, I had, just basically no responsibilities. I, was moving, I didn't have rent.
Right.
I didn't have any, children to provide for. So it was kind of just like the perfect time to
Right.
pick up and go to LA for 2 months. I don't know if I could have done that. And that's like kind of like the elephant in the room with all that stuff, is like people don't realize, like, you don't get paid to do the show, and you still have your bills at home, and you're just going and living somewhere else for 2 months,
So I've always wondered about that.
Yeah.
But thanks for letting me know.
Yeah. So you don't even get money if you win, you get money, but if you don't, but luckily you get a lot of opportunity, which eventually turns into funds that definitely help fund my business to start with. But yeah, like starting off, it was straight from college to doing that. There was a little bit of a delay from when they filmed it to when it aired. So I worked for Tory Burch as an assistant designer in New York. So I got a job in New York and ended up working there. And I actually didn't even want it to air, because I was like so happy with my position. It was a good job. And then once it aired, there was such great publicity and everything. I was just like, I just have to take this and run with it. And I just started my own thing, because
Do it while you can.
exactly. And yeah, that's the biggest thing. People don't realize getting publicity and the PR aspect and all that stuff. It's hard. It's not, it's really hard to get covered in magazines and all that sort of stuff. So
It's hard, and it doesn't last long. So
Exactly.
you got to ride that wave while you can.
exactly.
So what's on the horizon for you?
I'm really excited that we've kind of taken the designs from like a ready-to-wear aspect to more of like a resort. I think that really fits for what I do, with like the tailoring of the bathing suits, and then like the drapiness of the dresses and things to go over them, and doing my own prints. I'm just really excited about that, and we just changed over. This is the first collection that we've done that's more resort wear. So I'm excited to see where that takes me, and I'd like to continue that and grow that.
Great. Well, it's been great talking with you. I appreciate it so much.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
Good luck.